The US economy has been through a lot of ups and downs in recent years, and many people are wondering if we'll see a recovery in 2025. It's a complex question without a simple answer, but let's take a look at some of the key factors that will likely shape the economic outlook for the year ahead. The economy has been in a period of relatively slow growth since the Great Recession of 2008 to 2009. GDP growth has averaged around 2 to 3% per year, which is decent but not spectacular. Unemployment has been low, but wage growth has been sluggish. The COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 caused a sharp recession, but the economy bounced back fairly quickly thanks to government stimulus and the rollout of vaccines. Looking ahead to 2025, there are reasons for both optimism and caution. On the positive side, the economy has shown resilience and the ability to recover from shocks. Assuming no major new crises, the underlying fundamentals seem reasonably solid. Consumer spending, which drives about 70% of GDP, has remained strong. The job market is tight, with unemployment at multi-decade lows. Inflation has been high but is starting to come down. Interest rates are rising but are still low by historical standards. However, there are also headwinds that could hold back growth. High inflation, even if moderating, is still eroding purchasing power. The Federal Reserve is aggressively raising interest rates to cool demand and bring inflation under control. This could tip the economy into recession if taken too far. The housing market has cooled sharply due to higher mortgage rates. Geopolitical tensions, especially the war in Ukraine, are a source of uncertainty and risk. So what's the most likely scenario for 2025? My view is that the economy will likely grow at a moderate pace, perhaps in the 2 to 3% range, but it will be a bumpy ride. I expect inflation to continue easing but remain above the Fed's 2% target. Unemployment will probably rise a bit from current lows but stay relatively low. Interest rates will likely be higher than today, but not at levels that completely choke off growth. The big question is whether we'll see an outright recession in 2025. I think there's a decent chance of that, maybe 40 to 50%, but it's far from a certainty. A lot depends on how the Fed navigates the tricky task of cooling inflation without causing a hard landing. If they pull it off, we could see a soft landing with growth slowing but not turning negative. But if they overdo it with rate hikes, a recession becomes more likely. What would a recession in 2025 look like? Probably not as severe as the Great Recession or the COVID downturn. More likely a mild to moderate recession, with GDP declining for a couple of quarters, unemployment rising a few percentage points, and corporate profits and stock prices falling. But it wouldn't be a repeat of the 2008 financial crisis or the 2020 pandemic shock. In terms of what to expect, my best guess is that the economy will grow in 2025 but at a slower pace than today, with a decent chance of a mild recession. Inflation will be lower but still above target. The job market will remain relatively strong. Interest rates will be higher. But the economy has shown resilience and the ability to bounce back from setbacks. With no major new shocks, the fundamentals seem solid enough to avoid a severe downturn. Of course, this is just my opinion based on the information available today. Economic forecasting is notoriously difficult, especially for a year out. A lot can change in the next 12 to 18 months.